Boasting one of the best rogue galleries of all time, Batman has always had his share of menacing villains to take down. But throughout comic lore, the character has also beaten his share of superheroes, whether by researching their weaknesses, exploiting the environment, or simply throwing one well-placed sucker punch. These fights are fascinating not only because Batman squares off with former teammates and sometimes heroes from an entirely different universe, but also because Batman doesn't let his lack of superpowers hold him back from fighting for his place atop the list of the best comic book icon. Here are the top 10 superheroes that Batman has beaten. Superman. The first and most obvious entry on this list is Superman, who Batman most famously comes to blows with in Frank Miller's 1986 comic, The Dark Knight Returns. Although Batman wears armor and has a few tech-based tricks up his sleeve, namely a gun that shoots sonic waves and gloves that electrocute his opponent, it's really the kryptonite-tipped arrow shot by Oliver Lang, aka the former Green Arrow, that does Superman in. Once he's beaten Superman, Batman explains that he has spent years collecting the kryptonite and that he could have used more and actually killed Superman if he'd wanted to. The fight was recreated in Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, and this time it's a kryptonite-tipped spear that proves Superman's undoing. But yet again, Batman chooses not to kill Superman, this time upon learning that Kal-El's Earth Mother has the same name as his own mother, which effectively humanizes his opponent. Oh, Bats, you big softy. Lex Luthor. While normally one of the most formidable foes in the DC universe, a few years back, Lex Luthor actually became the new Superman, finally transitioning to the hero Kal-El always knew Luthor could be. But that didn't stop Batman from taking out his frustrations on Luthor. In a scene where Batman is prevented from following his deceased son's captors because of the arrival of the Justice League, the Caped Crusader eventually turns his ire towards its newest member, Luthor, and leaves the ex-villain in a stunned heap on the ground. It's a nice bit of wish fulfillment for comic fans who love to hate Luthor, and a reminder not to provoke a hero who's known for his temper. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just last year, Batman encountered the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a crossover comic and did what he does best. He beat the crap out of them. Despite being outnumbered and having little knowledge of the Turtles, Batman fares well in the battle, using his equipment and training to knock the Turtles around for a while. In fact, Splinter has to save the Turtles by throwing a smoke bomb and putting an end to the contest. Ultimately, the Turtles and Batman become allies and even swap nemesis. In an epic climax, Batman fights Shredder and the Turtles take on Ra's al Ghul. So all is forgiven. Their fight was truly the beginning of a beautiful friendship. The Incredible Hulk. In a crossover comic in the 80s, readers were treated to a face-off between Batman and the Incredible Hulk. While you might assume that the Hulk would simply smash his way through the puny human, you'd be underestimating Batman's preparation skills. During the fight, Batman deploys chemicals into the air designed to knock the Hulk unconscious. While the Hulk attempts the simple solution of holding his breath, Batman uses the brief respite to kick his opponent in the stomach. That's all it takes for the Hulk to inadvertently breathe in the chemicals and he goes down easily. Batman's victorious once again. Catwoman. While occasionally an enemy of Batman, Catwoman is firmly on his team during Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's famous Hush storyline. At least for a while. Not long after making out with Catwoman on a rooftop, Batman instantly turns on her when she tries to stop him from killing the Joker, although it's not technically a fight. Batman's ruthless might takes readers aback as he immediately attacks Catwoman's gunshot wounds, causing her to pass out from the pain. With her out of the way, he can commence in his favorite hobby of beating the Joker senseless, which he apparently enjoys more than getting frisky with one of the only women who will put up with his self-destructive lifestyle. We'd say he made the wrong choice here. Captain America. In a 90s crossover event, a slew of Marvel superheroes came to blows with the DC superhero, and one of the best matchups was Batman versus Captain America. What makes this particular fight unique to this list is that comic readers themselves decided the outcome, so it's really credit to how much people love Batman that the Caped Crusader triumphed over the superpowered Captain America. During the battle, the two heroes are so evenly matched that they fight for hours, eventually ending up in the sewers. Batman uses the environment to his advantage. For an instant, Captain America is distracted when the sewage begins flooding, and Batman seizes the opportunity to hit Cap with a batarang and flush him. Of course, Batman has hangups about killing people, so he decides to rescue Cap from drowning, effectively putting an end to the conflict. Azrael. Comic book fans know the Nightfall arc well, and casual fans might recognize it as the inspiration for Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. In the story, Bane breaks Batman's back and effectively ends the hero's crime-fighting career. However, in the comic, the supervillain turned superhero Azrael takes over the role of Batman. Later, upon learning that Azrael is killing people under Batman's mantle, a healed Bruce Wayne retrains himself and fights Azrael for the right to be the one and only Batman. As is often the case, the original proves better than the imitation, and Batman ultimately wins the battle. battle. Azrael realizes that he cannot even measure up to the true Dark Knight and begins a quest for redemption. Green Arrow. Although some fans might be saddened by depictions of Batman and Superman at odds, they are probably downright horrified when the two team up as supervillains. This comes from a curious 2005 Superman-Batman comic where Superman and Batman use their abilities to control the world rather than to protect it. In this narrative, one of the characters standing in their way is Green Arrow, so Batman offers him up to Superman and the two proceed to assault and kill Green Arrow. Similar to The Dark Knight Returns, Green Arrow takes Superman out with a shot of kryptonite, but this time Batman responds by beating Green Arrow to a pulp. Superman eventually comes back and turns Green Arrow to ash with his heat vision, but it's Batman who has the most blood on his hands and thus the most points in this fight, even if we'd rather not think about it ever again. Jason Todd. A young man named Jason Todd took on the mantle of Robin once Dick Grayson became Nightwing, and the boy's murder at the hands of the Joker haunted Batman for years. The Hush storyline exploited this scene where Todd apparently comes back with one hell of a bone to pick. After fighting Todd and winning, Batman realizes that the figure before him is actually the shape-shifting supervillain Clayface, who is posing as Todd. However, later, comics revealed that Batman actually was fighting his old partner for at least a portion of the battle before Clayface took over. It's pretty confusing, but Batman proved that he's not letting anyone put him down, even if it's the spitting image of someone he loved and failed to save. The entire Justice League. Perhaps the most impressive victory for Batman is the one he never actually sought, the defeat of the entire Justice League. In the JLA Tower of Babel storyline, Batman is so suspicious of his fellow Justice League members that he develops plans for taking out each of them should the need ever arise. However, while Batman's plans are eventually used to render the Justice League helpless, it's not actually Batman who deploys them. Instead, the Dark Knight's nemesis, Ra's al Ghul, subjects all members of the Justice League to their greatest weaknesses based on the research. Sure, this may sound like Ra's al Ghul's victory, but the League members consider this Batman's doing, and after recovering, they vote to kick him out. He'll probably be okay though. We hear he's pretty good in a fight. Those are the top 10 superheroes that Batman has beaten. This list serves as a reminder that although Batman is one of the least powerful superheroes around, he's got the knowledge, the training, and the gumption to come out on top, no matter who he's facing. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned to our channel for more fun stuff.